Recent political violence is leading to action at the Ohio State House. Ahead on Face the State, two lawmakers are pushing for stiffer punishment for those who attack or kill people over their political views, what their new bill will do, and how the recent killings of Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman and conservative activist Charlie Kirk hit close to home, spurring them to act. Also, feeling the pinch of high beef prices. What's raising the stakes when buying steaks? And how long until paying for meat won't make it so hard to make ends meet? We're looking into it. Plus, agriculture is Ohio's #1 industry. Hear from gubernatorial candidates, Democrat Amy Acton and Republican Vivek Ramaswamy, on the key issues facing farmers and how they would help them if elected governor. Face the State starts now. Thanks for joining us for Face the State. I'm Doug Petcash. The politically motivated killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk continues to dominate the national conversation. Ohio political leaders are condemning political violence in any form, even introducing legislation against it and joining hands across the aisle to address it. More on that in a minute. First, a celebration of life for Kirk is happening at 2 p.m. Eastern Time today at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. President Trump, Vice President Vance, and Kirk's wife Erica will speak. Meantime, students returned to class at Utah Valley University Wednesday for the first time since Kirk was shot and killed while speaking on campus. This is a look at the growing memorial to Kirk on the university's campus. As students returned, we also learned more information about the suspect charged in Kirk's death. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson faces multiple charges, including aggravated murder. Prosecutors say after the shooting, Robinson texted his roommate, who was also his romantic partner, to look under his keyboard for a note that read, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it," end quote.
Roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, I am. I'm sorry.
Prosecutors say Robinson's roommate provided those text messages to authorities. The suspect's next hearing is at the end of this month. A question many people are pondering is what to do about political violence. How do you stop it? Two Ohio lawmakers think they have a way to protect people who are speaking their minds, making laws, and reporting the news. They just introduced a bill to strengthen penalties for politically motivated violence. The bill's sponsors say the killing of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband earlier this year was a shock to lawmakers on the state level, only reinforced by the public assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. So they say they had to do something.
You think about an assassination, I never thought of a state level politician, but to see that happen was a bit of a gut check for a lot of us.
That shook us to our core as legislators.
This year, first Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot and killed in their home. Then conservative activist Charlie Kirk gunned down in front of a large crowd on a college campus.
When we saw the actual murder of Charlie Kirk, we wanted to make sure that we added on that, political motivation will elevate to aggravated murder.
In response to the violence, Daniels and Williams decided to take action with the tool they have, legislation. They just introduced a bill strengthening penalties for politically motivated violence.
If we can prove your intentions are politically motivated, either by your political views or the political views of your victim, then you are going to receive a very, very harsh penalty here in the state of Ohio.
The bill would elevate politically motivated murder to aggravated murder. It would carry a mandatory sentence of life without parole, and the crime would be eligible for the death penalty. It applies to elected officials, their staffs, journalists, and activists peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights.
My fear is that Political violence will silence the most important voices, the people who want to say the difficult things, the people who want to challenge the public norms.
Daniels says he has not received any threats. Williams says he has received death threats.
How do you deal with that and keep doing your job?
Much like Charlie Kirk, I have great faith in my Lord and Savior that, I'm doing the job that He assigned for me, and I'm doing good work, and there's always going to be opponents. So I'm not going to let someone intimidate me to the point where I stop doing my job that I was elected to do.
There should be no fear to get on a soapbox in any arena and say how you feel. The physical violence part of it should never have to be considered by anyone, and I hope that we as a country can return to that.
The two representatives point out political violence has been carried out on people on both sides of the aisle, and it needs to stop. They hope their bill moves quickly through the legislature. It's waiting for its first hearing. The killings of Charlie Kirk and Melissa Hortman and her husband prompted Ohio leaders on both sides of the aisle to join forces to condemn political violence. Republican Senate President Rob McCauley and Speaker of the House Matt Huffman, along with Senate Minority Leader Nikki Antonio and House Minority Leader Dunny Isaacson, released a joint statement. The statement in full reads, "In a free and democratic society, there's absolutely no place for politically motivated violence, nor should anyone encourage or celebrate this type of heinous criminal behavior. As leaders from different sides of the aisle, we felt it was vital to join together to emphasize the significance of this message as we strongly condemn the assassinations of Charlie Kirk and Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark Hortman, earlier this year. A free democracy depends on the open and peaceful exchange of ideas. Political violence destroys the bedrock upon which that freedom of expression is built. When we are worried that our words or viewpoints might lead to political violence, we are no longer able to speak our minds or advocate for our priorities. At the most basic level, we must put into practice a belief in each other's humanity. We are people. Fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, Ohioans and Americans before we are anything else. The future of our country depends on never forgetting that basic fact. Now more than ever, we must encourage respectful dialogue, starting here in the legislature, across both political parties, to bring about a brighter, more peaceful future here in Ohio. I caught up with Governor Mike DeWine and gubernatorial candidates Democrat Amy Acton and Republican Vivek Ramaswamy this past week as well. I asked all of them their message after the killing of Charlie Kirk. They all denounced violence of any kind. Here's what else they said.
We have an obligation, those of us in public office have an obligation to denounce any kind of violence from the right, the left, the middle, whoever it is. Violence has no place in our political process, absolutely no place.
It's so important that we don't give up on one another. People are intentionally pitting us against one another over and over again, but what people are longing for is to find their way back to their neighbor, find their way back to their family member who maybe doesn't agree with what they believe. We can't give up on one another.
We're not a country where you kill somebody because you disagree with them. That's not America. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And violence is never an acceptable response to words. And I think most people, whether you're Democrat or Republican in this state, actually agree with that. It is a tiny fringe that's at risk of destroying that culture of peace and nonviolence in our country. And we have to say that's not who we are.
Governor DeWine said the fact that Kirk was killed on a college campus makes his death more poignant because he was there encouraging young people to get involved in politics and public issues. On Wednesday, Ohio State President Ted Carter gave his State of the University address. 10 TV's Jeff Hogan sat down with him for a wide-ranging interview. University safety came up in the wake of the Charlie Kirk shooting. And Jeff asked Carter, where are we in this moment?
I think people are looking for some leadership in this moment in time, and leadership centered around how we can better unify ourselves, still let our voices be heard from all the different constituents that are here on a campus, a public university campus like Ohio State, but also make sure that we help educate our students, faculty, and staff to understand how to let their voices be heard, how to have a disagreement without it turning into it's either my idea or no other idea available.
10 TV is staying on top of the investigation of Charlie Kirk's assassination and the response to it. You can download the 10 TV app to get the latest updates on the shooting suspect's case. You can also check our website, 10tv.com, and watch our newscasts on 10 TV Plus. Still ahead on Face the State, OSU President Ted Carter's vision for the university's future. He just gave his State of the University address. Coming up, hear his focus for the next 10 years of growth. Plus, where's the beef? You can find it, but it's going to cost you more. A classic supply and demand issue. We'll tell you what to expect to pay at the meat counter and how restaurants might get creative to keep their customers. Welcome back to Face the State. Ohio's #1 industry took center stage in a huge way. Anything and everything you could possibly want to know or learn about agriculture was featured at a massive location in Madison County. Ohio State University's 63rd anniversary Farm Science Review was held at the Molly Caron Agricultural Center in London. It featured more than 600 vendors, the latest and greatest in farming technology and innovation, as well as workshops and learning opportunities on a wide range of agriculture topics. Governor DeWine says the Farm Science Review is all about the future. Farmers can learn about new techniques and technology, and nearly 10,000 high school students might find their career path.
These are FFA kids. These are kids who, may see their future in farming, but it may be in something related to farming, something to do with food, other things in regard to agriculture. So giving them that opportunity, I think, is just a really, really great thing.
More than 100,000 people visit the Farm Science Review every year. Well, it comes at a time when you may be experiencing some beef price sticker shock. Yeah, bad news if you love hamburgers and steak. The price of beef is sizzling, up 14% compared to this time last year. As 10 TV's Carla Rogner learned, it's a classic case of low supply and high demand, and don't expect these prices to go down anytime soon.
What are you noticing with the prices?
It's doubled.
There's no question about it. Shoppers are paying more for beef at the grocery store.
I was mostly chicken now.
Yeah.
And I'm getting tired of chicken.
But those who don't want to shell out extra cash for beef might be eating chicken a while longer.
This is a boneless beef ribeye.
At Falter's Meatpacking, their wholesale prices for beef have gone up astronomically.
Instead of paying in the neighborhood of $12 a pound early last year, you're now looking at 18 to 20 before you do any of the work required to turn it into steaks.
According to the USDA, there were about 45 million beef cattle in 1975, compared to about 29 million today. Despite fewer cows available, Jason Falter says people are not changing their diets.
And in fact, we've seen steady to higher demand over the past few years.
The prices forcing local restaurants to beef up their creativity.
You're going to see some interesting things like chicken in chili. We noticed that we were with their Skyline friends, and they now have a chicken chili that they're testing. And so you might see more things like that.
So if you're going out to eat, should you be prepared to pay higher prices for beef items on the menu?
Yeah, I think you're going to be prepared to pay a higher price for beef items. There's going to be a few exceptions to that. I think that you might see some of the quick serve restaurants, particularly the big chains, be able to kind of get through this easier than maybe our mom and pop and independent restaurants.
Restaurants are prepared for prices to stay high through at least 2027. But even still, people are opting for the beef.
People like their beef, right? And I just don't see that changing. And so the demand, I think, is going to stay high.
Here at Falter's, they're already looking ahead to the holiday season where they're expecting high demand for beef. That means prices could go up even more. Reporting in Columbus, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
Candidates for Ohio Governor, Democrat Dr. Amy Acton and Republican Vivek Ramaswamy both made appearances at the Farm Science Review. I asked them what they would do if elected governor to support the agriculture industry in Ohio.
One of the things I've been doing as a candidate for governor is going everywhere in the state, listening deeply. I've been spending a lot of time actually, particularly around kitchen tables with women in agriculture on both sides of the aisle. Women own farms, they inherit farms, they do the books, they run the 4-H. And what I'm hearing from them is that some of the biggest issues they are facing are costs right now a big issue in the ag community is being able to keep property and inherit property and have someone be able to maintain it, because property taxes are so high right now. Keeping the community going that way. Healthcare is a huge issue. Many people have to work a second job off of the farm just to have health insurance. Mental health is a very big issue on farms right now with all the stresses that folks face. Another big issue actually is public schools. Schools are top of mind in many communities. It's a big part of the way of life. And people feel like that is not being fully funded and cared for as well. And finally, I just think there's a lot of unusual stresses right now with the economy, right now soybeans particularly, so I'm hearing a lot of that.
We just did a story yesterday about beef prices being up 14%. Not really anything you can do about that, I guess, in particular, but how can you support the beef farmers here?
Well, there's a lot, absolutely so much that we can do at this state, but one of the biggest things I will say is that we have to empower communities again and empower local communities. There's a ton. We're here at the Science Review. There are so many experts in this area, and one of the things I'm hearing from a lot of them is they want the legislature and a governor to listen deeply to the needs of the community. This is so much a way of our life. We don't want to lose that here in Ohio, and the values that everyone holds dear. So I would say, a governor has a really important role to play, and something that is the second largest GDP issue in Ohio.
So look, it's our oldest industry, and I think it is our biggest industry to this day. We got to build on that foundation and double down on making sure agriculture remains at the heart of Ohio's economy, and Ohio's an agricultural capital across the country and across the world. Now, to do that, some common sense principles. We've got to think about property taxation, which is an issue in this state that's burdening a lot of landowners. Farmers are included in that. Keep CAUV intact. I'm in favor of it. Think about actually also the next generation of farmers. We got to have more of them cultivated right here in our state. Integrate ag and exposure to ag even in the high school curriculum to be able to have younger people see this as a viable career option that they find as actually attractive. And one of the things I've loved about the farmers in our state is they've also been very proactive in taking on the water quality issues that we all care about. H2 Ohio and their engagement through that's been incredible. But at the same time, I don't think farmers should be solely having to shoulder that burden on themselves either. And that's an important conversation for us to have going forward. And then veterinary medicine is an important opportunity too. And we have a great College of Veterinary Medicine at Ohio State. I was actually with a number of veterinary medicine leaders last night. And one of the things I talked to them about is how 1 + 1 = 3 in this domain, right? There's good synergies from strong veterinary medicine in Ohio and cultivating young veterinarians in our state to also help support our livestock farmers and ag more generally. And when I think about that, it's all common sense. Right? Nothing that I told you I don't think is particularly about Democrats versus Republicans. It's not about right versus left. It's about right versus wrong. And we choose up versus down for the state of Ohio.
Also last week, Ohio State President Ted Carter gave his State of the University speech. He addressed his plans for the future of education. It's called Education for Citizenship 2035. 10 TV's Kristen McFarland was there and has more on his message.
Year after year, the Ohio State University continues to grow, bringing in the best students from all over.
I love Ohio State.
Striving to be the best doesn't happen by accident. It demands careful planning and consistent hard work. That's why OSU President Ted Carter is laying out the roadmap for the next decade.
We are in a position to invest in ourselves, take ourselves to that next level.
Academic excellence, world-class, clinical care, and student affordability. These are the top 3 priorities Carter outlined. One of those initiatives dedicated to preparing students for the ever-evolving landscape of artificial intelligence. Carter wants to give every student the opportunity to become fluent in AI.
Nobody else in the country is even attempting it. This will require us to get our faculty up to speed on AI.
And as artificial intelligence becomes more intertwined with our daily lives, current students are looking ahead too.
I think all of us are a little fearful with how AI will impact our careers in the future. And so I think knowing how to manipulate it to our own use and to benefit us is a nice security to have.
Securing strong careers for students is a priority for Carter. He wants every undergraduate student to get a paid internship during their time as a Buckeye. Junior McKenna Parker says internships have given her invaluable experience.
I'm on like my third or fourth internship right now for interior design, and I feel like I have a lot of the knowledge that I need for the professional world, and I feel confident going into interviews.
President Carter says the continued success of the university will require a dedicated and relentless community working together.
Carter also talked about expanding the nursing program at OSU amid a nationwide nursing shortage. He emphasized his goal to more than double the number of nurses the university produces over the next decade. Still ahead on Face the State. Are you a reader? Then you know a book can open up whole new worlds and spur the imagination. A new initiative will open up those worlds to thousands of Ohio's youngest children. Hear from First Lady Fran DeWine about signing up kids for free books as soon as they are born. The battle over Ohio's political maps will officially start inside the State House tomorrow. Last week, outside the State House, hundreds of advocates rallied to try to make sure the new congressional maps will truly represent the people of Ohio. Carrying signs saying "Fair Maps Now," "Stop Gerrymandering," and "We Love the Constitution," the crowd first marched to the State House, then completely encircled it, holding hands or holding signs between them. Their message to lawmakers is straightforward: draw fair congressional district maps. Democrats have proposed a map they call fair and constitutional based on voter preference over the last 10 years. Right now, Republicans hold 10 of Ohio's 15 congressional seats. The Democrats' proposal has 8 districts now leaning red and 7 leaning blue. Republicans have not yet proposed a map of their own. The Joint Committee on Congressional Redistricting is made up of 8 Republicans and 4 Democrats. Again, it meets for the first time tomorrow at the State House. There's a new initiative designed to improve early childhood literacy. It's now easier than ever for parents to sign up for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. First Lady of Ohio, Fran DeWine, recently announced the option to sign up is now part of the Ohio birth certificate paperwork process. The Imagination Library sends a free book to kids every month from their birth to their 5th birthday. Any Ohio parent can sign up their child for free. To sign up, head to the Imagination Library's website, ohioimaginationlibrary.org. The First Lady says since 2019, more than 23 million free books have been mailed to Ohio children in all 88 counties. To say that Mrs. DeWine is passionate about this program is probably an understatement. I recently had a chance to talk with her about the new initiative and her desire to share her love of reading with those who are Ohio's future.
So now when you have a baby and you're filling out at the hospital, you're filling out your birth certificate information, there's a place on there on the next page to just check if you want your child to receive the Dolly Parton Imagination Library book. So
how important do you think that is to be able to grow literacy in the state?
Well, you know, there's some neighborhoods that we haven't gotten into, some places we haven't gotten into, and we think this is going to help us get those kids that we haven't got signed up, get them to sign up. If we sign them up the day they're born, they're going to get 60 books before they turn 5 years old. So that's exciting.
Why is this such an important cause for you?
I just think, you know, helping our children, their brain is, 80% developed by the time they're 3. Helping in those early years is just really the foundation for all their learning. So it's important.
Thank you, Mrs. DeWine.
Thank you.
Again, you can sign up your child to receive free books in the mail every month by going to ohioimaginationlibrary.org. That address is on the bottom of your screen. This is for kids from birth to 5 years old. Thank you for joining me this week for Face the State. I'm Doug Petcash. I'll see you next Sunday at 11:30. Have a great day.